Another week means a fresh slate of games to predict. What's up, y'all? It's your boy Evan, and here's my picks for week 12 of the NFL season. Nah, I don't mean to brag, but last week your boy went and knocked it out the park. So this week, it's short, simple, and to the point. We just gonna keep the good times rolling. Let's go. And as always, we start with the Thursday night game. This week, it's the Houston Texans and the Buffalo Bills. Texans 5-5, third in the AFC South off a 16-13 win in Tennessee. Bills 7-3, second in the AFC East and the AFC's 5 seed. If the season ended today, they play Pittsburgh in the first round. Buffalo's coming off a 44-32 win over the Buccaneers. This is the 13th all-time meeting between the Texans and Bills. Houston leads the series 7-5. Last time they met, October 6, 2024, a 23-20 Texan victory in Houston, but Buffalo was a 6-point favorite. 'Twas the week before Thanksgiving, and we're getting it started in H-Town. The Bills are in a favorable position. Buffalo's fighting to reclaim the East title, but they have a solid grip on a playoff spot, and they play the winner of an AFC North division as of today. That doesn't look all too threatening. Meanwhile, for the Texans, these are dire straits. Houston desperately needs a win to get above 500, but they'll be without CJ Stroud. No Stroud, no chance. Give me Buffalo over Houston. Now we start the early window with a game of colossal proportions as the Kansas City Chiefs throw down with the Indianapolis Colts. Chiefs 5-5, third in the AFC West off a 22-19 loss in Denver. Colts 8-2, first in the AFC South and the 3 seed in the AFC. They'd get LA as of today. Indianapolis is coming off a bye. This is the 29th time the Chiefs and Colts are going at it. Indianapolis leads the series 18-10. Last time they met, September 25th, 2022, a 20-17 Colt victory in Indianapolis. Colts have won 2 in a row in this series, but Kansas City is a 3.5-point favorite. Could this be the passing of a torch or the return of a dynasty? The Colts are well rested and now have a chip on their shoulder after falling 2 seeds on their week off. Teams are 13-9 coming off a bye this year, but 3 of the 4 teams with extra rest last week lost, so take that with a grain of salt. The Chiefs need a win, and they need it bad. The West is all but out of reach, so Kansas City has to go for the wild card, but that'd get trickier with a loss in its own right. This one might come down to the wire, but give me Indianapolis over Kansas City. Now we blow on into the Windy City for a battle of first-place teams, the Chicago Bears duking it out with the Pittsburgh Steelers. Bears 7-3, first in the NFC North and the 3 seed in the NFC. If the season ended today, they play Green Bay in the first round. Chicago's coming off a 19-17 win in Minnesota. As for the Steelers, they're 6-4, first in the AFC North and the AFC's 4 seed. They get Buffalo as of today. Pittsburgh's coming off a 34-12 win over the Bengals. This is the 29th time the Bears and Steelers are seeing each other. Chicago leads the series 19-8 with 1 tie. Last time they met, November 8, 2021, a 29-27 Steeler victory in Pittsburgh, but Chicago was a 3-point favorite. The Mitch Trubisky Bowl. Sorry, I had to. It was right there. The Steelers are caught between a rock and a hard place. Pittsburgh needs all the breaks they can get with the Ravens closing in on them, and they just lost Aaron Rodgers. Meanwhile, the Bears have straight-up plot armor. Chicago has a knack for the late-game heroics. It's been their calling card this season. However, I don't think this game comes down to the wire. Give me Chicago over Pittsburgh. Now let's sail on down the shores of the Ohio River where the Cincinnati Bengals lace them up with the New England Patriots. Bengals 3-7, third in the AFC North off a 34-12 loss in Pittsburgh. Patriots 9-2, first in the AFC East and the 2 seed in the AFC. If the season ended today, they play Jacksonville in the first round. New England's coming off a 27-14 win over the Jets. This is the 29th time the Bengals and Patriots are getting together. New England leads the series 18-10. Last time they met, September 8, 2024, a 16-10 Patriot victory in Cincinnati, and New England is an 8-point favorite. This is basically a role reversal of the last time these two met. Last time, the Patriots were seen as the underdog, a team that didn't have a chance against one of the AFC's heavy hitters. But now it's New England that's the big dog as they return to the Buckeye State. The last time the Pats marched in, the Bengals were odds-on favorites, expected to easily dispatch of New England and get ready for actual competition. But now it's the Bengals that look like, well, cannon fodder for the Patriots until they can face a real opponent. So I'm seeing different expectations, but the same result. Give me New England over Cincinnati. And now we make our way to the Chesapeake Bay, where the Baltimore Ravens welcome in the New York Jets. Ravens 5-5, second in the AFC North off a 23-16 win in Cleveland. Jets 2-8, last in the AFC East off a 27-14 loss in New England. This is just the 13th time the Ravens and Jets are serving as enemies on the gridiron. Baltimore leads the series 10-2. Last time they met, September 11, 2022, a 24-9 Raven victory in New York. Ravens have won 2 in a row in this series, and Baltimore is a 13.5-point favorite. Hoo boy, where do I begin? The Jets may very well be the worst team in football. I mean, there's not much to look forward to in the Big Apple besides the Knicks and Aaron Judge at spring training. The Ravens couldn't be more different. Baltimore started the season bad just like the Jets, but they've rebounded, and with the Steelers playing a very losable game this week, they might end the week tied for first in the North. This one's clear cut. Give me Baltimore over New York. And now we do the boot scootin' boogie on down to the Music City, where the Tennessee Titans sing a duet with the Seattle Seahawks. Titans 1-9, last in the AFC South off a 16-13 loss against the Texans. Seahawks 7-3, second in the NFC West, and the 5 seed in the NFC. They get Tampa Bay as of today. Seattle's coming off a 21-19 loss in LA. This is the 20th time the Titans and Seahawks are throwing down. Seattle leads the series 11-8. Last time they met, Christmas Eve 2023, a 20-17 Seahawk victory in Tennessee, and Seattle is a 13.5-point favorite. Everybody reach out to the Titans fan in your life. They about to have it rough this week. The Seahawks are out for blood. Seattle just lost a pivotal division game, and now they need a good punching bag to take their frustration out on. The Titans might just be that punching bag. Tennessee also lost a division game last week, and they have the chance to do something nearly unprecedented. Get the number 1 pick in back-to-back years. This one's open and shut. Give me Seattle over Tennessee. When these two get together, I don't know what's colder between their hearts and the temperature. It's the Green Bay Packers and the Minnesota Vikings. Packers 6-3-1, second in the NFC North, and the 6th seed in the NFC. If the season ended today, they play Chicago in the first round. Green Bay's coming off a 27-20 win in New York. Vikings 4-6, last in the NFC North off a 19-17 loss against, wouldn't you know it, the Bears. This is the 130th chapter in the Packers-Vikings rivalry. Green Bay leads the series 66-60 with 3 ties. Last time they met, December 29th, a 27-25 Viking victory in Minnesota. Vikings have won 2 in a row in this series, but Green Bay is a 6.5-point favorite. There is a lot on the line here. For the Vikings, it's sink or swim. Minnesota's not quite out of the North race, still hanging around in the wildcard race too, but their odds of getting either shrink significantly with a loss. The Packers have been slipping lately, and they need a win to keep pace in the North and keep their own playoff spot. Not to mention, the home team would like some get back on the Vikes for sweeping them last year. I'm sensing plenty of emotion here, and I'm going with Green Bay over Minnesota. And now we cruise on into the Motor City, where the Detroit Lions get ready for a showdown with the New York Giants. Lions 6-4, third in the NFC North off a 16-9 loss in Philadelphia. Giants 2-9, last in the NFC East off a 27-20 loss against the Packers. This is the 48th time the Lions and Giants are meeting on the gridiron. Detroit leads the series 25-21 with 1 tie. Last time they met, November 20th, 2022, a 31-18 Lion victory in New York. Lions have won 3 in a row against the Giants, and Detroit is a 10.5-point favorite. Now this one might get scary. Giants are playing with heart every week, that's for sure. And while heart alone is good enough to put up a fight every week, it's not always good enough to win, as they've discovered. The Lions, on the other hand, are looking at one last tune-up before Thanksgiving. There's 2 ways you could look at this. You could say it's a trap game, or you could say it's an appetizer before the main course. Either way, my mind's made up. Give me Detroit over New York. And now we start the late window in the desert, where the Arizona Cardinals have a dust-up with the Jacksonville Jaguars. Cardinals come in 3-7, last in the NFC West off a 41-22 loss against the 49ers. Jaguars 6-4, second in the AFC South, and the 7th seed in the AFC. They get New England as of today. Jacksonville's coming off a 35-6 win over the Chargers. This is just the 7th all-time meeting between the Cardinals and Jaguars, making it the least played matchup on the Week 12 slate. Arizona leads the series 4-2. Last time they met, September 26, 2021, a 31-19 Cardinal victory in Jacksonville. Cardinals have won 4 in a row against the Jaguars, but Jacksonville is a 2.5-point favorite. Well, technically, this is a Game 7, and the Jaguars are the AFC's 7th seed. Jacksonville needs every win they can get to fend off the likes of the Texans and Chiefs, though they do have the tiebreak on the latter. The Cardinals have no need to worry about such things. Arizona is in the predicament of not good enough for the playoffs, but perhaps too good for a top 5 pick. I'm going to go ahead and say that for the first time since 2005, Jacksonville beats Arizona. And now it's time for a tank bowl of epic proportions, the Las Vegas Raiders and the Cleveland Browns. Raiders 2-8, last in the AFC West off a 33-16 loss against the Cowboys. Browns 2-8, last in the AFC North off a 23-16 loss against the Ravens. This is the 29th time the Raiders and Browns are linking up. Vegas leads the series 18-10. Last time they met, September 29, 2024, a 20-16 Raider victory in Vegas. Raiders have won 5 in a row against the Browns, and Vegas is a 3.5-point favorite. Yeah, we got to talk about this one too. The Browns gave it everything they had last week, even gave us the much-awaited debut of Shedeur Sanders, but in typical Browns fashion, it just wasn't enough. This game is perfect timing in the sense how the Raiders were heavily linked to Mr. Sanders and even in the running to lure his daddy away from Colorado. As for who the Raiders currently have at QB, Geno Smith has had a good and inspiring career, but it might just be time to hang it up, boss. A new day awaits in the Silver State, and it's going to have someone else at signal caller. Still got to pick a winner, so I guess give me Vegas over Cleveland. And now we head down to the Bayou for the world's greatest therapy session with the New Orleans Saints and the Atlanta Falcons. Saints 2-8, last in the NFC South off a bye. Falcons 3-7, third in the NFC South off a 30-27 overtime loss against the Panthers. But officially, this is the 113th chapter in the Saints-Falcons rivalry. The all-time series is tied 56 wins apiece. Last time they met, November 10, 2024, a 20-17 Saint victory in New Orleans, and New Orleans is a 1.5-point favorite. These two used to be bitter rivals, and now they're desperately hoping they lose to the opposing squad. The Falcons once thought they'd be in the running for a playoff spot, maybe even the NFC South, but they got hit with Murphy's Law. Everything that could have gone wrong in Atlanta has, and now the locals are marking up draft boards. As for the Saints, they knew what this season was going to be from the jump. New Orleans always knew 2025 would be a long slog and that their franchise QB isn't on the team right now, so this probably phases them less. Still, somebody got to win, so give me Atlanta over New Orleans. Speaking of rivalries, this one ought to have a little more spice to it. It's the Dallas Cowboys going toe-to-toe and blow for blow with the Philadelphia Eagles. Cowboys 4-5-1, second in the NFC East off a 33-16 win in Vegas. Eagles 8-2, first in the NFC East and the NFC's 1 seed. They get the bye as of today. Philadelphia is coming off a 16-9 win over the Lions. This is the 134th all-time meeting between the Cowboys and Eagles, making it the most played matchup on the Week 12 slate. Dallas leads the series 74-59. Last time they met, September 4th, a 24-20 Eagle victory in Philadelphia. Eagles have won 3 in a row against the Cowboys, and Philadelphia is a 3.5-point favorite. I find it hard to see this game as anything other than the Eagles' NFC East coronation. Now, Philly's offense has been a rough watch the last couple weeks, but that's okay because they have one of the best defenses in the league. And it's not like they've done it against a bunch of nobodies. They shut down playoff hopefuls in the Packers and Lions the last 2 weeks. Now, as for the Cowboys, they looked good last week, but they did play the Raiders. Dallas is going to have to beat an upper echelon team to make the playoffs, and I don't have confidence in them to do that. I've made my point clear. Brooms out in Dallas. Philadelphia sweeps the Cowboys. And now it's time for some Sunday night football out in Hollywood. The Los Angeles Rams taking on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Rams come in 8-2, first in the NFC West, the 2 seed in the NFC. If the season ended today, they play San Francisco in the first round. LA's coming off a 21-19 win over the Seahawks. As for the Buccaneers, they're 6-4, first in the NFC South, the NFC's 4 seed. They'd get Seattle as of today. Isn't that a funny thing? Tampa Bay's coming off a 44-32 loss in Buffalo. This is the 30th time the Rams and Bucs are facing off. LA leads the series 19-10. Last time they met, November 6, 2022, a 16-13 Buccaneer victory in Tampa. But LA is a 7-point favorite. In some ways, this matchup is poetic. We know Baker is a dog, and it was his time with the Rams where we started to learn this. But in his time with Tampa, he has honed his craft and evolved into a full-blown menace to society. Now, as for Baker's former team, they're not too bad off with old man Matthew. Stafford's even putting together an MVP campaign as the Rams make a push for the number 1 seed. An interesting matchup to be sure, but I feel like the Rams have the better all-around team, so give me LA over Tampa Bay. And we close out the week with a Monday Night Football matchup in the Bay that could have serious implications on the NFC wildcard race. It's the San Francisco 49ers taking on the Carolina Panthers. 49ers come in 7-4, third in the NFC West, and the 7th seed in the NFC. If the season ended today, they play LA in the first round. San Francisco's coming off a 41-22 win in Arizona. As for the Panthers, they're 6-5, second in the NFC South. They're coming off a 30-27 overtime win in Atlanta. This is the 24th all-time meeting between the Niners and Panthers. Carolina leads the series 13-10. Last time they met, October 9, 2022, a 37-15 Niner victory in Charlotte. Niners have won 2 in a row in this series, and San Francisco is a 7-point favorite. A battle for the 7th seed in the NFC. This Panthers team has grit. Bryce Young injured his ankle last week and pushed through the pain to beat the Falcons. A team like this is dangerous. The Niners, though, are no stranger to toughness. San Francisco has battled through injuries all season long to claim this 7th seed they currently hold. And ironically enough, the Niners quarterback is healthier, so give me San Francisco over Carolina. Do you agree with my picks? Let me know in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe. Help me get to 5,000 subs, and come back for the next one. But until next time, I'm the voice of Evan. Remember to drink water, and we out.